Oh, hello.
Hey there, kittens. How y'all doing?
How's everyone doing today?
What's going on? What's going down? What's the oochie coochie coochie, honey? What's going on?
What's the gag? What's the gaga?
What's the gaga? What's the oochie coochie la la la? Oochie coochie la la la.
I got to be careful with this ginger beer because if I like the fumes will like go up my nose and I will spit all over this screen.
See, first of all, the setup is the fact that you said ginger. That's the setup for me
You
first.
don't like ginger ale?
So I do like ginger ale, but when you do like ginger beer or like ginger soda, and it becomes so strong, it's that tickle in the back of your throat.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's that tickle in the back of your throat. So
I love to have my throat tickled.
well, I'm sure you will have plenty of fans on the show that's going to be ready to tickle the back of your throat with something.
With a soda.
Ginger beer scented poppers. Come on,
Hey,
eccentric.
eccentric.
Come on, damn it.
Come on, super fan eccentric is always the first one in the house. Thank you so much, baby. We're glad you're here.
Yes, God. And for this ginger beer scented poppers. Yes.
I do not care for poppers at all.
I do. So let's go on. And if we can get some Jack Daniel's Tennessee honey scented poppers, then yes, I'm here for that. Yes.
Mm-mm.
I am. But please listen, like my
The smell of whiskey makes me nauseous anyway. So
like my girl said on a Low Down Dirty Shame, could you check the box, please? Last time you got me super, girl. Can you get me super this time? Get the super, girl.
Right.
So, but yeah. So how was your week? Because this week so far has been good. But how was your week?
You know, my weeks be like very weaky. It's not like there's a whole lot going on, in my, we can't go nowhere.
Well, yeah, we kind of stuck in the house. Bored in the house, and I'm in the house bored.
To go out, I will be prepping to go to New York City this weekend to gag the slave friend that's my new. I'm trying to see that gives me what I need. No, that gives me what I need. It just like there we go. Just clears it all out. I'm coming up with new terms because he's more than the slave. But he's, I'm a slave friend. So, so it's like slave friend, like slave boyfriend. So it's like the slave friend. So anyway, the slave friend's birthday was yesterday. And he had to spend it, with family and doing other stuff. So if we weren't in the middle of this panoramic, then we will be heading to New York City this weekend for a weekend of shits and giggles.
Hey, Mikey D.
Hey, Mikey D. And hey, Special. Oh, pause.
Oh, my God. Special's in the building.
Wait a minute.
Special's in the building.
Happy birthday. No. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Special's in the building. Special's in the building.
Where's your microphone? Where your microphone, girl? Where your microphone?
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
All right.
So go on. So you go ahead. So I'm gonna be. I take the. You take the lead. I'm gonna go ahead in the background. I'm gonna hype up. I gotta do. I'm gonna hype it up.
Happy birthday to you.
Cause Special's in the building. Special's in the building.
Birthday to you.
He's in the building. He's in the building.
Happy birthday, dear
Birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Cause Special's in the building.
In the building. Let's in the building. Let's in the building.
In that building. In that building. Special, what is this? What is this? Your 29th birthday? What's going on?
I know. How does it feel to finally be 21?
Like you You are legal now. You
21. Wait a minute. We've known you for like 10 years. So if you just turned 21, ooh, girl.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, so how does it feel to now be legal? You're not gonna be, you can walk in. Let's go with 29. Okay, we're going with 29. Okay. So
all right, 29, that'll work.
We'll go with 29. Like Tiffany Haddish says, she's celebrating her 21st birthday for the 19th time, I think she said. But I mean, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. We good. We here for it.
You are magic, baby.
Yes, indeedy. I hope you had a great birthday. Hey, Marcus, I see. Hey, Dylan, how are you? That's right, Jack Honey Poppers. You damn right. You damn right. Ugh. Luby, what's going on, Luby? How are you?
Ooh, I see all the special friends are coming through. We got Luby and we got Spesh and Papa. All right.
Yes. Come through.
So had this been, not in the panoramic, we would have taken a lovely train ride up to New York City because he's never taken the Amtrak train before. So it would have been a cute little trip up to New York. Then we would have gone to the auto show because, the New York auto show is not like the DC auto show because, the DC auto show is bullshit. It's really just a big new car showroom, but the New York auto show is like, well, at least from what I've heard and what I've seen, the New York super fan Links is in the house.
Cause Links is in the house. Look, Links is in the house. Look, Links is in the house.
I'm just telling you right now, my energy does not allow me to do that for everybody. So
I'm here right now. Look, I got it right now.
Hallelujah. But yeah, so we would have gone to New York Auto Show and test driven cars of the future and shit like that. And you know how the slave loves to do that, like wine and cheese and chocolate tastings and shit like that. So we were going to do like a cruise around Manhattan. But it started when I got an email saying that the auto show had been canceled due to the panorama that we're in.
Okay.
Then I was like, oh, well, then I guess we should just cancel because, after we came back from dipping it low and spreading it wide, in Florida, and, some of us dodged a bullet, some of us did not. Everyone is fine, though.
Yes.
Side note, I saw on the TikToks yesterday and then confirmed later by reading it because I'm not like some of these girls, they be reading shit on TikTok and be like, well, this is true. I followed it up by reading that a couple of anecdotal studies have shown that apparently Moderna protects more against the Delta variant than Pfizer. And an even more anecdotal survey of the people that went on our trip. Most of the people that got sick with corona everyone was vaccinated. So everyone on our trip that got sick with corona was vaccinated. And also some people that we knew that lived in Fort Lauderdale that got sick were also vaccinated. But everybody except one person all got the Pfizer vaccine. Only one person that got sick with COVID actually had the Moderna vaccine. So apparently there's a little bit of evidence that Moderna might be giving a little bit more protection. And that study was done in Florida where, Delta, she's running rampant.
Delta's running the yard. They are running the yard.
Right.
Running the yard.
So our trip to New York City got canceled. So it's a little low key. I did see that the Crew Club reopened last weekend.
Baby, the thought. So first of all, let me just say this. Listen, say what you want. I'm grown. This is what I'm going to do. I loved the Crew Club and what it stood for. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that it had little rooms. You can go in and do your little thing in private if you wanted to. If not, there was space that you can go out and do stuff in public if you wanted to. They actually had a literal sauna and a steam room, an actual steam room. Mm-hmm. They were amazing. And so I love them for just that reason. And the fact that they reopened was exciting to me. House and never. I could not pull myself together to want to go into that environment, especially after dodging a bullet, to go into that environment right now, right here at this time, at this moment. No,
right.
man.
Now, if you had asked me like 6 weeks ago, like at the beginning of July or anytime
Prior
between like May and the time we got to Florida, they'd have been like, "Oh, well, you want to, the crew club is opening." I might have tippy paused it down there, but now,
no, the text message would have read, "Listen, see you at the crew club. Bye."
Right. I'm like, "Oh, for real, girl? What time are you going? I'm gonna meet you there."
Girl, listen, I see when I get there. Don't worry about me. I'll be there. Just listen. Just call my name. I'll come out.
And so, my thing, we've had this conversation before. So, I prefer a sex club versus a bathhouse, because at a bathhouse, I feel like, and you know what, it could very well just be the bathhouses in DC, because I have gone to the bathhouse in New York City. I have gone to Mount Morris and have had a wonderful time. Mount Morris was this bathhouse in Harlem, in an alley off in a side street off of 125th Street. So those of you who are Black or Latino, or who like Black or Latino men and are of a certain age, will remember La Mancha Productions. Imagine walking into a bathhouse, and and then listen, if you like older white guys, that's totally fine. I'm not shading that. But imagine walking into a bathhouse, and instead of a bunch of older white guys, it was a bunch of 20 and 30 something Black and Latino men of all shapes and sizes and forms. And I had an absolutely wonderful time there. So
you were doing community service work. That's what you were doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I had nuts for sale.
Right. And it's so funny that we're talking about this right now, and Maximus walks into the room. Right. Hey, bitch, what's going on?
Nuts for sale. Appetizing nuts for sale. But so I think DC, even their sex club, even like the Glory Hole, is less exciting than similar places that I've seen in other cities. So, I think really it's just they were roasted and salted eccentric. Roasted salty nuts and chocolate salty balls. Ooh, suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Suck them, suck them, suck them. So, the couple of times I went to the crew club. Now, don't get me wrong. When I give a critique of something, even if I say I don't like it, that doesn't mean I don't have a good time. Because every time I went to the crew club, I still fucked and got a couple of nuts. So that we're not talking about whether I got off. It was the quality of the experience for me. Because anywhere you go, you could find, a little cum dump bottom who will, just sort of let you do whatever. But it feels like it always requires more work in a bathhouse or a sex club in DC versus New York or Atlanta or Fort Lauderdale or LA.
So I won't. That has been your experience, and I'm not going to discount your experience, but my experience has not been that way. I have found whatever it is that I've wanted. Now, the difference is, I think and when you start talking about bathhouses versus a sex club, I think people are going into this situation not looking at this as a sex club. They're looking at it as a bathhouse or someplace that they can try to walk around, parade maybe, almost like a Muggle light type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta,
Right,
have
the
to know
kids
how to
thought that they were
maneuver.
doing something by going to the sex club. They thought they were freaky and edgy by going to the bathhouse.
Right. You just have to know how to maneuver inside of it. But the thing is, once you find that vein of what is you're looking for, oh baby, you stuck in that vein all night. You stuck in that vein all night because everything that you need is gonna pop up when you need it right then and there. And so that's the thing. You just have to find that vein. Like you have to find that current. And once you find it, it's that you're good.
I mean, you just gotta. It's like double dutch. You just gotta be like, and then once you get in, like,
one bear to have when you're having more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put it around your neck. I'm just saying.
I mean, I have always found my vein, but for my taste, DC bathhouses and even the sex club, like the Glory Hole, is too much yakky.
It's a lot.
Fucky. Now, so contrasted when we went to Fort Lauderdale. I mean, yes, they have a bar. They have an actual bar up front, but it was like 2 people at that bar. 99.95% of the people were in the back getting fucked. You walk in right into the fucking. It ain't no, yakky. No one's there. Ain't no queen with the light on her phone talking about where you at. There's no, I mean, there was Lewis. I mean, there was that. But I just feel, so for me, if you're going to come for yakky, just take your ass to the mill or the JRs or whatever club or the fireplace or whatever spot it is that you like to go to kiki with your girlfriends. Why come to a bathhouse to do that? That just feels like an opportunity wasted for me. Because if I'm gonna take off all my clothes, I'm not gonna be like, hey girl, let's go to the bathhouse so that we can sit around and catch up and kiki and chit chat. Because if we were going to do that, we would find someplace else to do that. If I'm going to take off all of my clothes, then there's a very specific reason why I'm doing that.
Well, Jermaine Stewart said, you don't have to take your clothes off
to have a good time. Oh no. We can party
all night
and drink some cherry wine.
So, but
na.
So, Links, yes, theoretically, you could go to a bathhouse to cruise, and when you say take a bath, I'm gonna say take a shower because you ain't gonna take no bath. Take a shower, yes. But a sex club is like you said, you in there specifically because you come to fuck. Your name is
I mean, I feel like some people I'm gonna keep it cute. People that's taking a shower at the bathhouse are doing it for one of 2 reasons. One, either they're there to show off and potentially get other people to play in the shower with them, or they need to get clean before they go back to their husbands or wives.
Or they just want to wipe the smut off from the last session 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Because, I like to marinate in it. Actually, I do not. Like, after I fuck somebody, I'll be like, oh, I need to get home as soon as possible. I need to get clean.
Well, not even necessarily that, but I mean, if you're gonna go from, listen, you've come in, you've done your, listen, how did my girl Tracy Braxton, not Tracy, was it? No, it wasn't Tamar, it wasn't Swana, was it Tanya? I can't remember which one. The party girl. She was like, listen, once you have that little oral transaction or whatever, and then you just want to go ahead and wipe yourself off, clean it all up, get it ready for the next person. You reset the table for the next person. I mean, that's all you're doing. Like, that's what it is.
Well, I'll just say that I have depending on my mood, I might have a bit of a refractory period. So, but we want to say hey to another super fan who just showed up, Ebby. So thank you, Ebby. Y'all check out Ebby on the YouTubables. And we YouTubers support one another. We're not quite at her level of shine
right
just yet, but we are getting there.
Oh, and can I also take the time? Listen, I will also take the time and say thank you to another YouTuber who, yeah, beyond YouTube, I love him to death. He's a brother of mine. But I got, listen, my little t-shirt, I'm vaxxed, waxed, and ready to climax. Thank you, Spill It Boy. So,
very classy, very classy.
So we're gonna finish that out, and make that a show, a coordinated effort. We're gonna do that on the show. So we're gonna have some stuff coming up with that. So we got some stuff in the works. We're gonna work that out.
Yes.
I
mean, like, and so to wrap it up, my week was very sort of low key. This weekend, though, so in lieu of going and partying and bullshitting in New York City, we're going to do some stuff a little bit more locally. One of the things, we're going to go to this place called Selfie World in Tyson's Corner. So the slave and I, listen, the kids like to take selfies. So there's like a whole business that's apparently got a bunch of rooms inside the spot that's set up for you to take selfies. So, but it looks like something fun to do. So I'm going to do it with the slave this weekend, and I'll report back my findings because I think it will be a cute spot for me and you to go take some pictures.
I'm always up for an adventure, but just the idea of it alone, I'm like, Selfie World. Like, what? That's like going to Masturbators World. It's like, I can do that at home. Like, what?
Right. Yeah, but you don't have a room with a hospital bed and nurses outfits in your.
But I got my imagination, so when I close my eyes, I can just listen. I can. All of that just pops up. It's like the screen, like the green screen. It's like bloop bloop. Bitch, I'm here. Bitch, what? But I get it. But okay.
Right. So we'll try it out, and I'll see what it gives. And if she gives, then I'll let you know.
So I'm open for it. I'm trying to let go of this old. Why do you want to do that when you can just do something else? And I talk about people that do that type of shit all the time, and I'm like, I need to get out of that. So,
the world is moving beyond what we are used to, and if we don't want to become those people, then we have to accept that and just accept it without comment on it. And you have to let every generation or let the world be what it wants to be without us always, poo-pooing it.
Yeah. So, wait a minute. So I'm looking at Link's confession time. Steamworks, that's the one that's in Chicago, I believe, right?
Chicago, among other places.
I think Steamworks, that's the one that had all the glass. It was like very like floor to ceiling glass, like, because I think that's when I bumped my head a couple of times. I'm thinking I'm walking forward. I'm like, bam, that's glass. What the fuck? Like, what the? It was a mess. But
I never went. I can't recall if I ever went to Steamworks. I definitely went to Man's Country, it's a little bit more old school, but that's what I like.
Man's Country
was sort of like half. It was halfway dirty, but they covered it up with lots of Lysol.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bitch, it wasn't halfway.
Not Lysol, Pine Sol.
She wasn't halfway dirty, but she was dirty from 1974.
Yes, the smell of Man's Country was cum and Pine Sol
and regret. And 1982.
Well, I didn't regret anything. I just made sure I had my shoes on because I wasn't trying to get tetanus.
Well, you was walking on the floor, you was sticking, all you heard was
exactly with every step.
Yeah. So Lord have mercy. But okay.
Ebby says Selfie World, aka my house. Why you want McDonald's? We had burgers at the house. Sound like grandma. She'd be like, I want McDonald's. We got hamburgers at the house.
Right. Like, what you
give me this old green pepper burger?
You're like, it's not McDonald's. But well, I'm glad to hear your week was good. Mine was it's still shaping up to be kind of interesting. Doing some redecorating / moving type of situation, and it is fun, and you kind of purge while you're doing stuff, but it's annoying. It's always that little stuff where it's like you find all these widgets and who's it's and what's it's, and you're like, well, where do they go? You just want to put it all in one box and just stick it in the corner. Like, I'll go through it later. Well, you never go through that damn box later. If you don't go through it right then and there, you still got another box of widgets and what's it's and who's it's and whatever's. So I'm trying to go through that, but it's just a slow process. But I'm also beating myself up because I want to be finished it sooner than later because I don't want to drag it on any longer than it needs to be dragged on. But I'm just tired. Like I don't want to do this crap anymore. And then running up and down the steps, putting stuff in the basement, and I got to take another thing down the steps, and all this sweating. Like, shit, I'm fat. This is tired. I'm hot. What the fuck?
I understand completely.
Shit. But other than that, it's been a good week. I did get the chance to go out to karaoke with two brothers that actually are doing karaoke. 007 and Gray. They do karaoke on Wednesday nights down at Society Lounge, and it's a hookah lounge, and it's down in Waldorf. They start that on the 1st and the 15th, and then they do something at Trinity Bar and Grill on Thursdays, and then on Fridays they go to the VFW, I believe. I can't remember the name of it, but it's on Fridays. But anyway, if you check out my Facebook page, there's some information on there about those things. But it's been fun. And baby, I'm hanging out at Society Lounge with the crowd is not a gay crowd. So it's I want to call it a majority hetero cisgender male, male and female crowd, but it's so much fun because there's some ratchet that's just living inside of it, and it's just making it everything for me. So it's been pretty fun, and but it's the last 2 weeks have been pretty fun. So, but I definitely know this. I can't party on a school night like this no more. Like I can't listen. I am not in my 20s when I used to be able to pop, dip, spin, and push it and punch it on a Sunday night until about 4 o'clock in the morning, and then be at work. It's supposed to be there at 8 the next morning and get there by 8:30 and be half awake. Like I can't do that. No, daddy not built like that. I can't.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that kind of shit no more. That's a wrap for me.
Ooh, I can't do that. But other than that, it's been pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that to tomorrow at some particular point. And but that's about it. The week has been good. I'm looking forward to on some TV shows. To everybody knows. Well, we'll talk about that. But well, not everybody knows. But tonight is actually American Horror Story that starts tonight. Yes. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm all ready for that. So I'm looking forward to that. But this week has been good so far, so I'm definitely good with it.
Good. Hey guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So down there in the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see a little subscribe button. So click that subscribe button. Click the thumbs up for the like, and then once you subscribe, click that little bell icon so you'll get notified. As long as you have YouTube on your phone, you will get a notification when we go live or when we post new content. So we look forward to seeing more of you, because we got a whole lot more for you.
Yes, indeedy. Yes, and
you ready to get into it? What we're going to talk about first? You want to talk? Let's talk about R. Kelly, because listen, I thought
aura.
The aura. I thought that there
keep
was
talking because my PlayStation is blinking, so keep talking. I'm here with you. Hold on.
Okay. I thought that there was nothing more shocking that he could say, and that was, just more disgusting. But so people always wondered, well, why exactly did R. Kelly marry Aaliyah, other than the fact that, he liked underage girls? But apparently, a Jane Doe took stand on Tuesday in Brooklyn Federal Court in New York City to testify that R. Kelly told her that he married the singer known as Aaliyah when she was 15 so that she could have an abortion. The woman, who was now 23, testified that Kelly gathered his several girlfriends together so that they could ask him anything they'd like. She testified that when one asked him to explain why he married Aaliyah, who died in a plane crash in 2001, he said that only parents and spouses could legally give permission for a minor to get an abortion. She also said that he gave Aaliyah money and made a secret bat phone for her to reach him in case of emergency. Aaliyah is named as another Jane Doe in the federal case against Kelly. That's because the Mann Act prohibits taking minor. Anyway, so that's all. Whatever. I mean, to me, that was just very. It's just.
It's a lot.
I just have no. I'm just like y'all so concerned about Aaliyah now because y'all can make money off of her. That talking about, oh well, now her music is available and whatever, but you didn't protect her when she was a child.
How about that?
And you let this grown ass man rape her essentially.
So I have very mixed emotions about the 15-year-olds in general. I have very mixed emotions about that. Now, I also will admit that I have, as I think many of us do, that have family that are from the South and some sort of it have some connection to the South. People tended to get married or younger.
Yeah, but they generally did not marry men who were literally more than twice their age.
So it may not be twice their age, but I don't necessarily see it as being, because again, The Color Purple, let's talk about Miss Celie. Now, granted, this was a movie, but there were certain things that were still very true for the time period. A very, very young girl marrying a very grown man for the sake of taking care of or keeping house.
And there's also a difference between, and listen, I don't want to get into the position of justifying old men marrying young women.
No,
there is a difference between a man marrying a woman who is young and underage and them building a life together and whatever versus an older man who has a history and a habit of going after young girls. And, so if I don't even want to make it sound like it would have been better if Aaliyah and R. Kelly had met and they had, stayed together for like 3 or 4 years or 5 or 10 or whatever, and it was just the two of them, yeah. But by the time he met Aaliyah, he already had an established pattern of messing with girls as young as 11. So this was not I just happened to be an older man who fell in love with a younger woman. He was, and not a woman, a girl who took advantage of a girl. So to me, there's no justification for what he did. And, the fact that her heirs essentially and keepers of her estate are now they're concerned about her legacy and taking care of her and how she will be perceived when, you fail to do that 100% when she needed you. And, there will be a lot of people who say, oh, well, I was 15 and I dated a man who was 30, 45 years old and you were raped too. Because you did not have, yes, are there some 15-year-olds who are much more mature than some others? Yeah. So age is not just a age, a literal number on the calendar is not necessarily indicative of your level of maturity. However, it's generally not good. And those relationships almost always don't work out. Yeah. Is there the occasion where there is an older man who falls in love? And we're not talking about someone who's 18 or even 21 and falls in love with a 15-year-old. We're talking about someone who is grown, like someone who was 30, 35, 40 years old. You shouldn't even be in a place where you should have access to people that young. And to be grooming those girls. And of course, it seems interesting because you're young. You don't know enough to know that this person is only using you for the sex because your body is new and fresh and tight. And, you know, some men and some women are attracted to your lack of experience and lots of other things. So because we live in a rape culture, you know, it's accepted, particularly among men, that it's okay if, you know, some older woman comes and you know, has sex with you. Also, there are a ton of us gay men, not me, but a ton of gay men who, as young teens, had relationships with men who were significantly older than them, and those relationships are almost always based on a power dynamic. Like, you're usually, when you're 15 years old, you're living with your mama or your daddy or your grandparents or whatever. Whereas that grown ass person can do whatever the fuck that they want. So there's always a power imbalance in those kind of relationships. And you and I, and most of the people who are watching this show, at least right at this moment, understand how a power imbalance in a relationship can be taken advantage of by the wrong person. I think Link says, well, isn't it the law minors cannot give consent? I think they got married in a jurisdiction where a 15-year-old could get married.
Well, and actually,
while I mean, there are some jurisdictions, at least up until the late 90s, where girls as young as 12 could consent to be married. So it's because it's legal doesn't mean it's right.
But actually, I think at some particular point, there was a marriage certificate that was filed with her incorrect birth date, which meant that she lied.
I'm sorry. I totally dashed over that part of it. Hold on. Let me find. Go ahead.
But I'm gonna go back to what I was originally starting to talk about. And my comment lends itself towards, just because it was done prior doesn't necessarily mean that it is right, or it was right, or it should be accepted. But I just have I'm very on the fence about that age of 15, 16-year-old, because even for myself, I remember being 15 or 16 years old, and there are moments where my emotions were overruling the little bit of logic that I had, but there was still a drive to do some things because I absolutely wanted to do those things. And I'm not talking about sexually, I'm just saying just in general. So when you start talking about sexual part and or relationships, that's something completely different. So I guess for me, the point I was trying to make is, it's just a very weird age, because you are coming into your own and you're starting to think about some of these things, and the synapses and receptors are firing up, and some stuff is getting through, but there's some things that are not. But there's a lot of things that are going through and that are making sense to a lot of people. So I'm just very on the fence about that age.
Right. So what I neglected to mention when I dashed over the rest of the story, his former tour manager, a person named Demetrius Smith, testified Friday and Monday that he bribed someone he knew at the welfare office with $500 in order for Aaliyah to obtain a fake ID so that she and Kelly, who was 27 at the time, could get married. So yeah, she was 15 at the time, but there you go. That right there tells you everything that you need to know, because if everything was on the up and up, why did you need to obtain a fake ID to do that? Then, to your point, yes, we've all been 15 and have felt whatever emotions we felt very strongly. But that's what being an adult is about. Understanding that one can't always act on one's feelings. And if she had adults in her life, even if R. Kelly had been like a mentor to her, or someone had been a mentor to her and said, girl, you cannot be dating this older man like this, and then getting a fake ID to go through it and do it, and then immediately after he marries you, he leaves you to go perform. No, And then really the reason they got married is so that she could then he could then sort of sign for her to get an abortion. There's nothing about this story that paints him in a good light. And it makes me feel so bad for Aaliyah because she was so young and so beautiful and so talented and had her whole fucking life ahead of her. And, you know, it's just.
Well, okay. Wait. Stop. I am not discounting the fact that this relationship was inappropriate. Let me say that from the beginning. But I also am not going to dash over the fact that Aaliyah, her family, they were concerned about her career as well as her. And part of this whole transaction is what helped develop the career that she had. Not the talent, but the career and putting her out in the front. After all this stuff was over, you know, there became this large separation that she had from him so that she could pursue everything that she wanted to pursue.
Right after she got an annulment of that relationship, that marriage, mainly because it was entered into under false pretenses because she was underage.
So, and I'm not even discounting that, but some of that feeds into the whole entertainment machine. And so this is going to be one of those conversations, or this could be one of those conversations that can go on forever because everything is going to be interrelated. Everything is going to have so many different connections, and you know, like the whole Illuminati type of situation. Like it can go into 18,000 different things. Yeah. So
overall, it was just shocking to me and very sad to me that everybody, perhaps including Aaliyah, you know, to the extent that she had some culpability in managing this or the ability to say, no, she doesn't want to perform under these kinds of circumstances. But I'm going to put the onus more on the adults for looking out for her, you know, because by the time this happened, even if it wasn't known nationally, it was certainly known in the Chicago area about the kind of person that R. Kelly was.
Well, absolutely it was.
So, and that they were like, oh, well, it's, you know, as long as Aaliyah gets some money and by extension us, you know, it's fine. And I'm putting words in the family's mouth. I'm not in none of it.
Right.
The cautionary tale for all of us is to be on lookout for the young people, the teenagers in our life, male, female, straight, gay, trans, whatever. Because when you're young, you're thinking with your hormones and not with your mind. And a man who is a man or woman who is older, not only is their brain a little bit more developed, but also their ability to reason and logic, just because they've seen more of the world, you know, can get you to do whatever they want to do. And then they've gotten a nut or whatever it is that they want from you. And now you're left to deal with the consequences.
Yeah. Here's what I agree. She was a talent that is gone and lost way before she should have been.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with her relations with R. Kelly, but I definitely believe that her time spent with him had an impact on her, a lasting impact on her going forward.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
All right. So we can talk about this forever. What you want to talk about next?
So listen, I wanted to jump on this little story because I found this interesting. You know, there's a woman who actually, during this pandemic, there have been people that have been renting and they've been facing eviction because they've been losing their jobs or they haven't had work or they haven't been able to go and make money to actually pay for all of their bills, rent included. There was just recently within the last, I would say within the last year or so, there's been a slew of evictions and things of that sort. And there was one in particular that happened where there was a young mother who was facing eviction, and her picture was blasted over social media and on the news, and it caused a public stir because she was going to be evicted from her apartment. The young lady's name was Dasha Kelly, and they actually started a GoFundMe campaign asking for $2,000 to help keep a roof over the heads of herself and her 3 daughters. And in the picture, you saw her sitting on the couch with her 3 daughters sitting next to her. She said, we owe $1,900 for rent alone, not including utilities. She's like, I will figure it out, utilities, by pawning a few things. As you know, it's entirely still, it's entirely still too hot to be homeless. And she said, my daughters are age 5, 6, and 8. Please help us with anything, because again, she was facing eviction. Now, this televised interview that happened on CNN helped reveal that she's not the children's biological mother. Key information that she added retroactively on her GoFundMe page. So the CNN reporter who originally interviewed Kelly said that the young girls all called her mom, but their actual biological mother, whose last name is Hilo, showed their birth certificates and for confirmation, and was angry at the whole implication. And so the woman's first name is Shadia. And according to Shadia Hilo, she's the biological mother of the 3 girls. And that she filed a lawsuit against Kelly. This is something that was reported in the Las Vegas Review Journal, that she's suing for the money donated to the GoFundMe because Kelly never had her permission to showcase her children as props, which is one of the things that she's suing her about. She said the 3 minor children have been used as props to raise a large amount of money, all of which by rights should belong to them. And that was what the lawsuit was filed in the Clark County District Court says. Now, she's been, like I said, she's been under fire since it was announced that she's not the biological mother of the children. And as a result, GoFundMe has froze the fundraising campaign weeks after Kelly started it. The GoFundMe that was entitled "Help My Girls and I Avoid Eviction" quickly went viral, like after the interview, and the attention that helped generate more than 10 times the amount that she needed. The figure itself ballooned to like $234,000 at one point. Now, they talked to Kelly, and she also offered some context to her relationship with the 3 young girls. She said, the girls recognize me as a mother figure in their lives, but I'm not their biological mother. My partner is the children's father, whom I do not live with, and I take care of these girls in my home for periods of time and have for the last couple of years. She wrote, while saying that doesn't change the nature of the urgency for her need for financial assistance. She says, I've loved these girls unconditionally, and I've been out of the kindness of my heart. And I treat them as my daughters, and I care for them in this way. So this has been a back and forth situation. In the short term, GoFundMe has told the Washington Post that it's given all the donors 2 weeks to cancel their donations and ask for refunds. And something that's been clearly happening, because it went down from $234,000 down to $163,000, which means more than $70,000 have been refunded to donors. And with less than a week left, if more donors continue to take back their contributions, it would appear that Kelly is still on pace to eclipse the original amount for which she was actually asking. So and I remember this story very specifically because I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Did I donate to her? No, I did not. But was I moved by the story? Absolutely, because you just don't want to see anybody evicted. So I just wanted to be clear about that. That was my choice.
Did I donate to her? Absolutely not.
Yeah, but that was my choice to not donate to her. But I feel bad for the situation that she's in. But again, now I'm looking at the mother, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you want money from this GoFundMe account because it should be for the 3 girls. Is it because it was at $234,000? Is that why you are? I'm all over the place with this article. I don't know. But I wanted to report on that and let you guys know, because I'm sure many of you have seen this article. But the minute you look like you had something to say, you pulled your microphone out. You was about to say something.
Stunt Queen! Stunt Queen! Stunt Queen, Stunt Queen, Stunt Queen, Stunt Queen, Stunt. Listen, both of these women are stunt queens. The one woman, Dasha, or is it Dasha or is it Dashe? I feel like this could be Dashe.
Well, I was getting ready to say Dasha, but I mean, we're gonna go with Dasha.
Okay, Dasha Kelly. The stunt for her is
she related to the aura?
Right. These are not her biological children, which, that's fine.
Right.
But her partner, who she does not live with, is the children's biological father. So her boyfriend is the father of these children, but she doesn't live with the boyfriend. Does she take care of the kids sometimes? Yes, apparently, but that don't entitle her to a dime. That's just tacky to issue a GoFundMe on their behalf. Now, if she and the boyfriend have been living together, I mean, because I'll even buy that they look at this woman as,
a mother figure.
As a mother figure. That's fine. That's all well and dandy. But when you put them girls on the screen with you, you knew exactly what you were doing. This is what this reminds me of. I never saw my father get so angry with a homeless person as the time when we were out somewhere and this homeless person made, a lot of times, sometimes these people aren't homeless, but
child, I get all up into them. I get into the fingernails, I get into the clothes,
right.
shoes, baby. I get into everything.
Like, I'm homeless. Like, girl, are you homeless really with this tight new
like, bitch, you just got your gel, you got your gel done over again, bitch. You ain't homeless. You're not homeless. I'm not doing that.
So, but my father got so mad because this man was out in front of the grocery store, the drugstore, whatever, with like his 3 kids begging for money. And my father got so mad, and I'm not saying my father was right or wrong, but his reaction was that, you shouldn't have your kids out here. And because he knew why he was doing that.
Right.
Well, I mean, if he was truly homeless, maybe he had nowhere for the kids to go. But what my father was saying is what I'm saying with this woman. She knew exactly why she had those kids out there, because she knew that if she had just been out there, I need money, people would have been like, oh, and she might have still gotten the $2,000, but she would have just gotten the $2,000. The reason she got $234,000 is because people, particularly other Black people, were like, oh, that could be me and my kids. So I'm going to give you $10. And all you need is a few dozen people to give between $10 and $100, and now suddenly you've got $234. The mother of the children is a stunt queen because she didn't call the law. Because I'd have been like, this bitch. Well, so I would have called the law to get a fucking restraining order to keep this bitch away from my fucking kids, because she got them on TV or GoFundMe, trying to raise money. Instead, her concern was getting her hands on the money.
The money.
That was very stunting to me too, because that's what she went for first. Because my first thing would have been to go whoop her ass.
Yeah, don't put my kids on TV without my permission. Don't do that.
Right. And I would have looked at her father. I would have looked at the kid's father. Was like, "This, you let this bitch do this?"
Right. Now, come on, Delon, for a tale of 2 stunt queens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Link says, the kids play on the sympathies of people. Exactly. Because you want to see those kids. Because, like, I mean, I didn't see this, and I probably wouldn't have donated either. But,
I saw it, and I looked at her, and I was like, "Oh my God, that is so awful."
Right. But yeah, so they knew what they were doing. This is just another side of that same, these kids with these PPP loans, they trying to pull stunts, and then the girls get caught up.
Have you been watching some of the PPP loan videos, and when these people come to get arrested?
I don't know how they thought this was going to go down. I don't know how they thought that they were going to get all of this money from the federal government and that they weren't going to have to produce any records or anything that showed that they had a valid business. Yes. Do businesses, do you get money from the government and the joint goes out of business and it don't work out? Yes, but you still got to go through a process. You can't just be like, I know y'all gave me $75,000, but you can't just be like answering the phone and be like, yeah, the business didn't work out. Click. No, you can't just do that.
All I know is some of these YouTube videos are hilarious. People getting, And I'm just, and it's so funny because I had so many people call me and was like, "Oh my God, you should go ahead and do this, so that." And I was like, "I'm good, thank you." Like, listen, I make no, listen, y'all know where I'm from. Y'all know I'm from Philadelphia. I'm born and raised, and we just gonna call a spade a spade. Baby, listen, I'm not even gonna be one to tell you that I've never even pulled a stutter two in my life. I'm not even gonna say that.
I'm not even gonna tell that lie.
I'm not even gonna fake like I ain't even doing it, and not even gonna fake like I ain't even get caught once or twice. But baby, let me tell you something. I just can't fuck with no feds, and I don't like that type of. Them odds are not. They are not in your favor. They are not in your favor. So the idea of getting this money from no man.
Right. And because even like the kids be like, oh, well, like I would see people and I'd be like, I know we make the same amount of money. This was before I bought a house. And I'd be like, I know you make around about the same amount of money I do, and you don't have any kids or any property, but you walking around talking about, I just got a $10,000 income tax refund. And they're like, why don't you talk to my tax guy? He can do that for you too. I was like,
yeah,
I'm not doing. No, because there's no legal way that you, as a single person with no dependents, no mortgage or no nothing, can get $10,000 back from the federal government. It just don't happen like that because you ain't got no investments. You ain't got no nothing that you can write off. So all of that shit that they did, it may be you're playing the odds.
Yes,
that
you
so
are.
many people who need to get audited that you don't. But see, the way this luck run through my veins, I'd be that one bitch in a million that they decide to audit, and then they'd be like, "Oh, okay, so Mr. Onyx, you said that you had this business and she went belly up and you bought a brand new top of the line computer and you bought this car with your thing," because you can do that. You can, if you set your business up right, you can buy a car through your business that you are driving around and whatever, but you got to know what the fuck you're doing. You got to have all that shit together. You got to be able to depreciate all of those assets and do all of that. You got to have your ducks in a row. And I don't even want to learn all of that because I don't need to know all of that. I'm not.
And
trying to do
the sad part is it's so much you're learning so much more unnecessary nonsense and so much convoluted, complicated nonsense that it's just fucking easier to just tell the goddamn truth and put the truth down on a piece of paper, keep it the fuck moving. Exactly. And then you have to remember this bullshit later on. Because bitch, let me tell you something. It's not just one time, but you're gonna have to remember this forever. Let's just say you do this. You do this now in 2021, and let's just say you would decide to go and buy a house 2 years from now. Baby, your tax returns are gonna have to go back a couple of years. But when you go to for that financing and sit your ass down, so like
And then if you say something different on that, and then of course your ass is going to be, still trying to pull a stunt. And instead of doing conventional financing, which is very, you ain't got to involve nobody in conventional financing but the bank. You're going to do FHA financing, where then you have to declare to the federal government what your income is and all this other shit. And then one thing is going to be in one database, and it's going to be one data point that matches up to this whole other database, and they're going to be like, the math ain't mathing.
Right. It ain't mathing. It ain't mathing. It ain't mathing at all.
The math is not mathing, and they're going to audit your ass all because your girlfriend was like, oh, girl, you can get this PPP loan and you get that Brazilian butt lift that you wanted. Okay, girl, fine.
Girl, no.
And this is why I don't do that shit, because I come from a family of stunt queens. I come from a family of stunt queens, and I guarantee you, I don't know what my Uncle Ricky is doing because, I haven't talked to him since the funeral or, 1 or 2 months afterwards. And I guarantee you that if my father was still alive and him and my Uncle Ricky was together, child, them old ass men, them 75 and 72-year-old men would have been trying to take out a PPP loan, or they'd have been fucking with some young bitch, young to them, bitch in their 50s, talking about, oh, we could take this and we could do all of this. And, and then next thing I know, I get a call. Hey, Brian, your father's about to be arrested. And I'm like, arrested for what? What the fuck does why are they arresting a 78-year-old man? Can you just get down to the jailhouse with the bail? And then I'm like, all right, well, how much is the
How
bail?
much is the bail?
And then it's gonna be like, it's not gonna
It's
be
gonna
like,
it's gonna be like 50,000 straight.
right. They're gonna be like, well, because we took the amount that we took out it was more than just simple theft. Now it's grand larceny. So
if it's over 10,000, baby, it's a felony. And guess what? That's probably gonna be straight bail money, and it's gonna probably be anywhere from 10 to 30% of what the fuck your charges was. So, bitch,
exactly.
listen.
And I'm gonna be like, you know what? I love my father. I love him to death. And I will make sure that he gets the best money that his money can afford. Notice I said best money that his money can afford, because this was something I told you. I'll move on, because you listen. This is why this show works, is because we all got stories. I will tell you,
baby,
that when my father, when I took over my father's finances one time when he got sick, so me and my sister take over his finances, and we got all of his shit together, and he unbeknownst to me had declared bankruptcy. I'm like, why do you need to declare bankruptcy? Because one of his stunt queen brothers had said to him, if you declare bankruptcy, you don't have to pay these bills, which is not true. What they do is consolidate your bills. They work with the creditors to accept a reduced amount. Then you pay that reduced amount to the bankruptcy attorney or whatever. He then doles that amount out. Well, they had stopped paying on the bankruptcy because, again, they thought they had to pay nothing. So then there's that. On top of that, because they got a shiesty ass bankruptcy attorney, the mortgage, which was the main big bill, wasn't even included in the bankruptcy. So then I get this thing, and I was like, okay, girl, we have paid up this bankruptcy. Everything is cool. We're 100% fine. Then I get this notice from Citibank talking about you haven't paid the mortgage in like 2.5, 3 years. And I was like, how could that be? Everything should be in the bankruptcy. We're all caught up. We're ready to come out of this bankruptcy. It was like, this was never included in the bankruptcy. So I know I come from a family of stunt queens. That's why I stay away from stunts. I had to learn that a little bit the hard way, because, bitch, I have gone to Kmart, written a check for $250, and then bought a bunch of stuff, and bought $250 worth of stuff, paid with it with a check, then returned all of that stuff to get the $250 in cash. I pulled those little stunts, and I've had the consequences of those little stunts. And I learned my lesson about that by the time I was 24. So, I don't do that. So,
baby, listen, we can have, that's a whole nother, listen, that's my whole little zhuzh. We can have a whole little conversation about that. So if anybody knows somebody that's fucking around with some checks, tell them to come on over here, and tell them, no, don't do it. Let me tell you, this is how this is not going to work.
Did you used to have a pricing gun?
Baby, listen, so I worked at TJ. I worked at TJ Maxx. Baby, listen, I still remember the department codes. So when I go into DJ Maxx, I'm always sitting there saying Department 50. I was like, is that men's, boys, and toys? Listen, let me tell you something. So when people go in, they try to do these stunts, and it's so funny because I would catch the young queens that would go and pull a fucking tag from like household items and put it on a t-shirt, and it's now marked down to $9.99 from $72.99. I was like, now, baby, what you just put a price tag on here for was for a plunger. And you want this plunger's price to go on here on this men's t-shirt that you have here. Baby, that's not even a good match. So this is incorrect. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. And then you want to argue with me, and then I have to look at you from over top of the counter like.
I mean, we could just call the manager. I could just call security at the front door. We could just call the police and just be done with this.
And a couple of times I had to look them in their eye, and it was some of the kids, and I was like,
look, like this, like, Miss Thing.
No, baby.
I'm trying to give you out.
Let me tell you something.
You should just put all of this shit down and walk out.
You might want to listen to what I'm trying to tell you. This price tag does not belong on here. Now, what I will do is I will give you 15% off of this, of the original price. That's what I can do for you. If not, you can put this shirt back because you're not going to buy it at this price.
Right.
And you do realize that we are we are under our surveillance camera, and I'm going to tell you right where this other camera is. It's right behind you. So if I'm standing here talking to you too long and you get a little bit rowdy, you know, that little big burly woman's going to come out here. She's going to probably have a little conversation with you. So it's up to you, baby. You can handle it however you want.
Right. So back in the day, you know, so I went to school in Tallahassee. This was in the 1989 to 96. So, you know, it's so funny because there's so many things. You and I and a bunch of people like us went to school and sort of came of age in the time before everything was computerized. So my pricing gun was literally just the numbers. So you found the store, all you had to do was print out a price, you know, the little price tag, which was literally just a little rectangle with the number on it. Because if you brought the shirt up, there was no scanning it. Girl, it was literally just a tag on it that said this was $9.99. And you do that shit at Kmart or Walmart or whatever. And there was no, gonna get a price check on aisle 36. It was like, girl, if this says that this shirt is $2.99, I don't give a fuck. It's $2.99. Right. So I'm just going to do that. You could do that shit when it's just literally a printed with that purple ink on a little white tag, you know, number on it, but you can't do that shit nowadays because you're gonna be like script, and you be like, girl, this is a phone. Why are you trying to pay? There's no way that this phone only costs $50.
Baby, I tried to tell the kid. And listen, I see Creative Queen saying that was cool of me to help him out. Baby, let me tell you something. Each one teach one, because me, and I've talked about my bestie before. Listen, this is what all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say is this. There used to be a store in Pittsburgh called Horns. And Horns had their own little store credit card like Macy's and everybody else. And so however we procured this credit card, we got this credit card. So, you know, every now and then you have to go upstairs and kind of have to do a little check on it and kind of see where things were. When the older woman from behind that customer service window, when she leaned over, she said, "Baby, you might want to leave this here now and run." When she said that to my good sister, my sister said, "Thank you so much." Dashed. Come on.
Let me tell you. So I worked at, and then we'll move on. I worked at Food Lion, right? And I worked in the deli, but the deli also, you could ring up stuff for like cash because the deli at Food Lion was different than like the deli now. Because, you know, now at the deli, you just buy whatever fuck it is you want to buy from the deli, but then you got to take it to the cash register. At least back in the 90s at the Food Lion, you could pay for groceries there. So you were also the cashier. And, you know, so it was a whole different, their system wasn't quite tied in to the cashier system. So what I would do is tell my friends, girl, if you need to come grocery shopping. Now, I didn't tell everybody this because you know you can't trust everybody.
No,
you can't even tell all your friends because you know they be the main ones that get you arrested.
Get you fucked up and arrested.
They'll be the ones that be like, where's Brian? Because they're gonna come up with $500 worth of groceries to the fucking deli. You be like, no, girl, if you got like a little bit of something, but you can't do like your whole grocery shopping there because they're gonna be like, because they're gonna look at your receipts and be like, because they count the number of items as well as the total of items too. But you know, if you got like $20, $30 worth of stuff, I can get you down where you only paid like $10. You know, but you can't, you can't try it. And that's how the white woman that I worked with got caught because she tried it. She tried it and she didn't try it. She tried it because she was, she pulled the money order stunt. She pulled the money order stunt where she would get like $500 money orders and then say that the money order was canceled. Awesome. So she would buy whatever she needed for $500 in the store, right? For the money order. Right. But then she would say the money order was lost and she got a refund. So essentially she got $1,000. She got $500 worth of goods plus and the $500 back that the money order was worth. And the police caught up with her old ass. So, and listen, and it was like, they got her ass for like 30, 40 grand.
And listen, here's the thing. I didn't realize that motherfucking supermarkets are cash cows.
Yes.
I never paid attention to that. And I was like, I can't work in a supermarket. That's not going to work for me because I don't want to be in nowhere near when somebody going to walk in with a gun and be like, everybody down. I'll be like, listen, have a good night.
I only worked there during the day, so it was good.
Mm-mm,
all right, so what we got to talk about next?
So, okay, so all right, really quickly. So this happened in June, but a man is wanted for licking a woman's backside at a beauty supply store. Are you kidding me?
Is so disgusting to me.
So there's footage of this, and I actually ran across this article. It's on NBC's website, and somebody posted on a Facebook page. But in Brooklyn, police are searching for a man accused of sexually abusing a woman who was shopping at a beauty supply store in Brooklyn. Surveillance shows that this man walked up behind this woman, bending over, and licked her backside. You can see the woman turn around and say something to the man, who the police say then ran away. Now they're offering a $3,500 reward for the information that leads to his arrest. But baby, can you imagine going somewhere and leaning over to pick up something and somebody licks your behind? Now there's a part of me that's like, oh, but then there's also a part of me that's like, bitch, oh, like bitch, no, bitch.
Listen, so, even for people I know, before I lick it, I'm always like.
Yeah, you want to just kind of, right. And you do that casual.
Before I put my mouth on it, I need to know, where it's been. So just to do that with some random stranger in the street feels like a no to me.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, anyway, so Chadwick Boseman is his widow is actually in the news lately as well. His widow, her name is Taylor Simone Ledward. She's seeking reimbursement after paying for his funeral. Now, she filed a court claim in which she requested reimbursement back in April. Specifically, she wanted his estate, which is valued at $3.5 million, to repay her this $71,613.74 after she funded the late actor's funeral. However, the judge presiding over the case recently rejected the claim, saying that it must be supported by evidence of payment by the claimant. Support for claim is unclear based upon the partial payments, transferred account, and documents provided. The claim, again, like I said, was rejected on account of the large sum of money involved, as well as the complexity of the situation. Now, despite the setback, Taylor Simone Ledward has refiled the claim and submitted various check stubs, receipts, and financial documents. She also submitted testimonies from Chadwick Boseman's friends who had firsthand knowledge of the funeral expenses. The judge is going to review the documents and make his final decision at a hearing in November. Here's another tidbit as well. Chadwick married Taylor Simone Ledward shortly before he passed away. The pair had been dating since 2015, about a year before the actor was diagnosed with colon cancer. However, despite the couple's union and Chadwick Boseman's terminal illness, the late actor never drafted a final will. So, baby, listen, I feel sorry for you, Taylor, but funerals and baby births bring out the worst in people. And baby, I feel for you because you are going to go through it. That's all I got to say about that.
Stunt Queen!
I don't know.
No, listen. Here's the thing. The judge clearly said, this wasn't no one's, I'm side-eyeing a little bit the cost of the funeral, $71,613.74 is a lot for a funeral. That is a lot of money for a funeral. It's 3 times what I spent on my father's funeral. Now, Chadwick Boseman versus Charles Swilling, I get that. But they said it must be supported by evidence of payment by the claimant. Support is unclear based upon the partial payments, transferred accounts, and documents provided. This feels like a Swilling stunt. This feels stunty to me, because here's me. I don't have $71,000. So if I made $71,000 disappear, I know. Not disappear, appear. I'm gonna know exactly how it is. I'm gonna be like, I spent $2,479 on flowers from 1-800-flowers.com, and the receipt is attached as Exhibit 1. I spent I spent $12,000 on a casket from, we be selling caskets and shit. And here is the receipt. Listen, I would have all of my shit together so that it was very clear, what was going on and what was happening. And so this is how it feels stunty to me, because when you want your money, you'll have all your shit together. And so whenever someone owes me money, I always make sure that they have everything that they need so that they don't have to come back to me and ask me for nothing. So it just feels stunty to me. But I mean, it could be very well. Listen, it could be like she had whatever money was left in Chadwick's account, which was maybe a couple $100,000 or whatever. And because of everybody loved Chadwick, she couldn't give him the same kind of funeral that we gave my father, because then they'd been looking at her crosswise, for doing that too. So, maybe she is entirely an innocent widow, and, this is a whole lot going on. But as I said before, the math ain't mathing.
Well, listen, hopefully she'll figure it out. And I know that, you're probably all over the place, and this is her husband and all that type of stuff. So there's a certain amount of mental just aloofness that just happens during that time period. So
like, if you give your, somebody need money for flowers, they do this, somebody need flowers for that. But I'm the kind of person that you can depend on in a crisis to take charge and handle shit. I ain't just gonna be willy-nilly writing checks for nothing. Plus, Chadwick lived in, I think, listen, just go to a good funeral home. They'll take care of all of that shit. You ain't got to do nothing. But
they'll take care of it because of who he was, and they'll be like, okay, well, we did the funeral for that, and they'll want their payment afterwards. They'll be like, okay, now we'll go ahead and take care of all this, but we don't want our payment.
Right, but then you would have only had to write one check, and then you would have only had to provide one receipt for everything that the funeral cost. And then that would have been it, because it would have been on funeral home letterhead and wouldn't have been, no whatever, but okay, fine.
So I don't know, but I wish her well with that whole thing.
I do too, because I mean, unless she's lying about the amount of money, she did spend $71,000 on the funeral. And whether I or anyone think it's valuable, it was worth that much or not, she did spend that much. She had that much to spend, and she's just asking for it back from her husband's
that's it,
estate, so it's not like she's trying to pull a stunt, getting public money. It's not like she did a GoFundMe or whatever. She was married to this man, so it's a lot.
Yeah, so hopefully that pans out for her soon versus later. So
yeah.
Next up, have you seen, there's a new ad campaign with Beyonce and Jay-Z, and it's for Tiffany's. They are the faces of the new Tiffany & Company About Love campaign, and it's going to be launching on September 2nd. In this ad, Beyonce is wearing a 127 carat diamond. It's like a yellow diamond, and she has this look of Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's. The character's name was Holly Golightly, I think her name was. I can't think of what her name was, but I think it's Holly Golightly with the black dress and the tousled hair. And so, anyway, in this campaign, the couple was featured in front of a long unseen painting from Jean Michael Basquiat. Jean Michael Basquiat. His private collection called Equals Pie. The painting, which features the signature Tiffany blue hue, was reportedly acquired by the luxury conglomerate LVMH from a private seller. Let's be clear, LVMH is billionaire status. That's the guy that Janet was married to. Like, he's heir into that thing. Like, they just got money.
Yeah.
But the campaign marks the first public appearance for the painting, and according to the release, it was included because art serves as a common thread throughout the Carters' love story. However, many critics have taken to social media to call out the couple for the use of this painting. Now, for me, when I read this article, I was like, why are people complaining about something? I don't understand. Like, what are you just? Is it the panorama? Like, I don't understand. Like, what are you complaining about? But hold on.
I'm sorry.
So wait, hold on. So now Jay-Z has always been open about his love of Basquiat and his work, and he even references the artist in multiple songs. Plus, he currently owns a 4.5 million Basquiat. So the ad most likely meant no disrespect to late painter, but people are commenting on these things like, "Oh, so now you want to use a Basquiat painting just for this picture? Like it's never been seen before. You're not gonna put it in this ad? I mean, but why? Why is that?" And I'm like, really? It's just a freaking ad for the, and it's Tiffany blue. Like what the? It makes sense, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about stuff too logically or illogically. I don't know, but I'm sorry, Dominion. I cut you off. You were about to say something.
No, you're fine. I cut you off. Some people are upset because they say that Basquiat would not have been fond of his work being used in this way, and I can respect that. But this is what often happens with artists. I was just having a conversation with one of our brothers yesterday about, the tension between art for, sort of a personal reason and then art as a commercial thing. Art has always been funded by patrons. I mean, no one would have known who Michelangelo was if he had just been, some dude, some homosexual in Italy who liked to paint and sculpt naked men. He didn't become famous until the de Medicis took him on as a patron, one of whom became a pope, which gave him access to paint the ceiling in one of the most famous buildings in the world. So there's always that tension in art. Some people also talk about, the conspicuous consumption of it, and then also that diamond is probably what you would call a conflict diamond.
Right.
So that diamond is the result of conflict in Africa or wherever it was mined from. So when Beyonce talks about this pro-black, empowerment thing, some people would say that then it's not true to that message to then wear a conflict diamond that way.
So, and many of the people, the funny thing is, many of the people didn't even mention the damn diamond. They're more so concerned about the picture. And so for me, the part that bothers me is someone paid for this painting. It is a part of someone's collection. It is their property. They have donated it to be featured in this ad out of their personal stash to then be shown and taken back. Me, in my opinion, the artist was definitely concerned about his product or his painting, but he was also thankful that someone would have paid for this painting, and he may have given instructions to say, if he sold it, hey, I would like for you to keep this in a place where it does X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 but they paid him for it. So guess what? It's theirs. They can do what the fuck they want to do with it.
And once you sell a painting or once you lose control of a painting, it's really kind of too late to have, strong opinions about what people should or shouldn't do with it. Because if it was that critical to you, like Stephen King, often has opinions about what people do with his work. It's
very strong opinions.
Well, then you shouldn't have sold a fucking manuscript, because once you sell the manuscript, then you lose control over what happens to it. So
very strong.
So there is that.
So
let's see. We've got a couple of other things that I wanted to touch based on. Real quickly, Kelly Loeffler just lost her WNBA team to a player she refused to meet. So if you remember Kelly Loeffler, she was the Georgia senator who lost to Raphael Warnock, but she's also one of the owners, or maybe the owner of the Atlanta Dream, which is a WNBA team. Well, there is a woman named Renee Montgomery who, in addition to being a star player on the Atlanta Dream, is also a social justice activist. And
she's retired now, I believe, right?
She's retired, yes.
Yeah.
She wanted to meet with Kelly Loeffler to talk about, because Kelly Loeffler said and did some real racist shit. Now she is also
Stop.
the owner.
Let's call space. But she didn't say and do some racist shit. She is racist. Let's just call it.
She is racist, and then on top of that,
Hey, Ignition. Hey,
she
Coyote.
she threw the team that she owns under the bus. So Renee Montgomery wanted to talk to her about that shit. She refused. So Renee got together with some of her good girlfriends and some of her good boyfriends and friends and whatever, and they bought the team from her. So good for her. So congratulations on that. So bully for them on that. And I really hope that over time we can raise the profile of the WNBA, because I mean I went to a couple of WNBA games.
Baby. They are balling.
It was a very sapphic energy to the place, but that's fine. So in the same way that it's a very sort of hetero cisgender male aesthetic to the NBA games, the WNBA games were very lesbo-centric, which is fine. I mean, the fuck? I mean, I'm just stating that as, you know, to give you an idea of what it was. I'm not making a value judgment on that, but the game was fun. I had a wonderful time in it, but I'm just not a sports person, so I don't care about. I care about the WNBA as much as I care about the NBA, so I don't care about it. But I want them to. I mean, you know, if LeBron James can make $40 million a year, then the star women on the WNBA who are as good ball players as some of the male. So like the star women WNBA players only make a little bit more than the shittiest people on NBA teams.
Yes.
Which makes no sense. So the star athletes in the WNBA should be making salaries on par with the male athletes, but that has to do also with the, you know, getting butts in the seats.
Yeah. And I think that it's less than $200,000. I think that star athlete for the WNBA is actually making. And this is not, they don't even have the endorsements either, which is another thing.
So we'll quickly mention that Anthony Mackie has locked in a deal with Marvel Studios to reprise his role of Sam Wilson in the fourth Captain America movie. So if you'll remember at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, he was officially named the new Captain America. So good for him too. Oh, the last story that we'll talk about is good old OnlyFans. So OnlyFans. So first of all, stunt queens. So, but OnlyFans got caught with the stunt because OnlyFans issued a press release. I guess it feels like it's been forever, but only a few days ago.
Yeah,
like a week ago, they said that they plan to ban sexually explicit content by October the 1st. Then the girls got up in arms. Everybody was like, but sexually explicit content is the only reason that people go to OnlyFans. I mean, so I was on OnlyFans Twitter today and was talking about some woman who is like a yoga lifestyle coach, and they were talking about her OnlyFans channel. I was like, girl, you think, yes, are there going to be a few white moms who are going to pay to see Megan blah, 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 blah do yoga on OnlyFans? Yes, but they're going to pay a whole lot more to see their favorite porn star get gutted
hey, Mac.
on Instagram or on OnlyFans. So they made those sex workers, including porn stars, made OnlyFans exactly what it is. And so here's what it came down to. Their story kept changing. They were saying first it was MasterCard that was making them do this. Then it was the banks that was making them do this. All of that may be partially true. Hey, Mac.
Mm-hmm.
That's our buddy. We had so much fun on our trip together. We were already talking about it in our little group meet today about planning for the next one. We're going to start planning for that. But anyway.
Side note. So, Mac, I feel like you might want to make an appearance on the show sometime soon. I mean, I'm just saying we could do this crossover thing. I'm just saying. I mean, you know.
I mean, I'm with it.
I mean, come on. But
So,
anyway,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk.
But so, in addition to those things potentially being true, MasterCard is cracking down on sex workers' accounts and other stuff. It has to do with requirements of determining that everyone is over the age of 18 that's in the filming, but OnlyFans was already doing that.
Yeah.
In addition to the bank saying something similar, here's what it really boils down to. OnlyFans was trying to go public. They wanted to be valued at more than $1 billion. That is cute, but OnlyFans doesn't own anything. They don't own a patent. They're not like 3M. They don't own a patent to sticky notes or Lexan or anything. They don't have a ton of property. They have a business model. Their assets are all of the people who have accounts with them.
Yep.
So when they say we have $650 million worth of revenue annually, that's because they have all of these performers, 3/4 of which you just said can't do whatever the fuck it is that makes them go to your platform as of October 1st. So this feels like the math ain't mathing. The math is not mathing.
It ain't mathing.
And the math isn't mathing. And I feel like somebody in the OnlyFans organization is about to lose their job because they didn't do. You about to lose your job. Exactly.
Lose your job.
You're about to lose their job because someone didn't say, well, if we want to be valued at $1 billion, that's only because the people, our assets are the people. And we just told 75% of our assets that it doesn't work. Now, this is a little different from Tumblr because Tumblr was ad supported. I mean, I don't know if there was a such thing as a paid Tumblr because Max says, didn't Tumblr try this? Tumblr tried it to the extent that they did take away sex workers, but Tumblr was free. So this is entirely different. I mean, I was upset to lose take away my Tumblrs, but I mean, because this represented like 5 years worth of work putting in that shit, but it was ultimately free. So whatever. This is different. People are taking filming content, uploading content. Now you got to move because now you're making money off of this. So they need to move that to another thing. Particularly the sites like Just for Fans. Just for Fans is founded specifically by and for sex workers, including porn stars. So, so OnlyFans, they shot themselves in the foot in the worst possible way because they just alienated 75% of their base that was actually making them the money that they needed in order to get this IPO. But then just today, they walked that back a little bit. It says it plans to suspend the planned October 1 policy change. So, and a lot of people, including the article that I'm reading on Gizmodo, noted the word and as opposed to cancel or revoke. Suspend, when you get suspended from school, that means they expect your ass to eventually come back.
Mm-hmm.
When they say you're right, you get suspended too many times, your ass get expelled. But that's a whole other story. But suspended means it can come back eventually versus revoked or canceled. And they did not use those words. So, if I were you, if I was a sex worker, if I was a paid sex worker, then I would move to another platform, so there's one of the most well-known, I think, is probably Just for Fans or My Fans, but then there's also This Vid and a couple of others. I mean, a lot of the spaces that used to do this are closing down. They closed down X Video. I think X Video is closing like in September.
XTube or whatever, are they closing it? Or Pornhub?
I mean, not X Video, XTube. Yes, it's closing in September. I need to get my $2 back because I still had $2 credit that I need.
Hey, Tyra.
Robert says he's a volunteer sex worker. I was like, come on for community service.
Listen, Robert, we have your community service is needed on this side of town.
Right. Right. Bougie Girl said, ooh, sex worker, got here just in time. Yes. So yeah, so stay on the lookout, support your local sex worker, because sex work is, and there's nothing wrong with this, but sex work is more than just the prostitute on the corner. Sex work, especially those of us who are gay, every one of us who is gay, a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, knows at least one sex worker. Everybody who got a cam and jerks off for $1, or has an OnlyFans page, or sells videos, or is a pro dom, or does that kind of work, is a sex worker. And so this affects us even if we don't have a page on OnlyFans, because it chills the climate.
Come on for support your local slip and slide. Yes. Right.
And so now it's time for our favorite part of the show.
Come on, Drag Race. Listen, so let's jump right into this.
I thought I was going to fucking hate this episode, and it has turned out to be one of my favorite episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race ever.
So I don't know about all that, but all I'm gonna say is
that is a bit of an exaggeration, but go ahead.
But it definitely got me re-energized because I didn't want to do no more PowerPoints. I was over all this. I was over it. Mm-hmm. And then they talked about all the contestants who went away. So they talked about Serena Cha-Cha, Jiggly, Silky, Yara Sophia, Scarlet Envy, Akira Davenport, Jan, Pandora Box, Eureka. They had all went away. And the last person they showed going away was from week 9 was Eureka. And you heard Ru say, get your stuff, meet me, on stage for the lip sync of your life, whatever. And then the next week, the series pops up and you get to see the top 4 contestants after Eureka was eliminated backstage watching the redemption, or the game within the game, the damn redemption video. Like, they get to see all these people go up against each other. So they put all the people up against themselves. And the first week it was Serena versus Jiggly. Well, actually not the first week, but the second week, because Serena went home the first week and then Jiggly went home the second week. So it was Serena versus Jiggly. And all of your contestants that were there was everybody that went home. Like I said, Serena, Jiggly, Yara, Sophia, Scarlet, Akira, Jan, all the people. But these were the battles that came up. You had Serena versus Jiggly. You had Jiggly versus Silky. Silky versus Yara Sophia. You also had Silky versus Scarlet Envy, Akira Davenport, Jan. It was a whole bunch of. But listen, before we even go into the final ones, I just want to mention all these battles. But baby, let's talk about the Serena versus Jiggly lip sync. I was whelmed. It didn't really do much for me. I was like, okay, Serena, you got 2 ponytails and you're dancing. Okay, great. Yeah. All right, fine. Okay, cool. But Jiggly did eat that performance.
She did.
Jiggly came back, and it was Jiggly up against Silky, and that's where Silky had on that damn. And if you go to the highlights, Silky had on these damn. I done took a whole picture out. Silky had on this damn leopard print or cheetah print dress, and so did
right up here.
Yeah,
they both had on the same thing.
Yeah, and then Jiggly had on a leopard print as well. But anyway, they did lip sync, and which was okay. But Silky pulled out a motherfucking glass and some ice cubes and some fucking cranberry juice
from her titties. Built a whole fucking drink, and I fucking lived. And it was on for me from that moment on, because I've not been the biggest Silky fan, but right. She turned me into a fan over the course of this episode.
Yeah, so I give her credit for that. And her personality, she has a very electric personality. Like, it's just a big personality, and it's just there, and that's what it is. So she won. So then it was Silky versus Yara. So Silky came out again, and Silky did another little trick where she had a whole bottle of water. She poured it all over her face, which I feel is amazing. Because if you've been to any sort of drag shows and you've seen the queens get up on stage and they perform, baby, they will douse themselves in a bottle of water real quick, bitch, and that makeup is not moving. They will be just as fish and just as hot as they want to be because that makeup's not moving nowhere. And so Jiggly pulled that little stunt where that's where she pulled that out from. So, but Yara Sophia, let's talk about Yara Sophia's body. When this bitch got naked, her body is amazingly feminine. Like it is, everything about it's just feminine. I was like, good God. But hey, all right. Anyway, Jiggly beat Yara as well. And then Silky beat Yara as well. Silky then went up against Scarlett. Now, Scarlett looked fucking amazing when she came out in this cat suit. You know, I'm not a fan of Scarlett, but baby, she looked amazing when she came out in that cat suit. She had all this big hair and she just looked really good. They did a Cher song, and Silky came out with this red sequin number, and she had a little trick and a stunt, and her stunt was she started flagging.
Oh yeah, it was right here. Yes.
Yeah, she started flagging. So she literally was waving this flag up on stage. And you know, I personally thought just on lip sync alone that Scarlett should have won, but that's just me. But Silky won.
It was for me, it was for all of these, it was the performance. And I knew even as I was watching it, what some of the kids would say and some of the haters would say is that Silky was doing stunts and she was doing whatever. But I was like, it's a drag show. It's a fucking performance. I mean, if you're going to be mad at Silky for this stunt, then you should be mad at Butterfly Titty Girl, whose name I can't remember. And you should be mad at Sasha Velour because that was a stunt. Because let's just be clear, up until she, it was the lip sync was about even between
Shea Coulee
and Sasha Velour. It wasn't until she started, like first she put off the gloves and it was the flowers, and then when she took off that fucking wig and all the flowers, that's a fucking stunt. Now the thing is that it was a good stunt, and all of Silky's stunt, except for the very last one, were good stunts.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that. So Silky had won that, and so this was now she was going into her third. Well, she was going into her. I'm sorry, she was going into her she's going into her third week of winning. And so at that particular point, she was going to go up against Akira.
Akira was like, girl, fuck y'all.
Akira did a no-show. She politely declined, and she said she wasn't going to do this. Now, listen, in my personal opinion, Akira had something else lined up, and I feel like she was like, it was a matter of timing, and it didn't quite work out for her. So I feel like this is what Akira did. I feel like Akira did something else. She didn't just stop for the reason she said, I didn't want to, just disappoint myself with how my performance. No, girl, you had something else lined up. That's what that is. So just call a spade a spade. That's what I feel. But anyway,
I watched an interview with her and Michelle Visage. Was that on the episode, or did I see that someplace else?
That might be the after where she leaves. I can't remember what it's called, but they used to have it afterwards.
Yeah, I watched that, and she was like, basically, I came to the show to prove that what I wanted to prove, and I didn't want to go through that anymore. And it felt like she was just a little bit over the performance aspect of it, and so yeah.
And she very well could be, but I feel like there's something else going on. And butterfly boobs, as you were talking about, that's Asia O'Hara. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah. But okay, so because she didn't show, Silky was adamant about performing, and so she did this dual performance where she was half man, half woman to I'm a Barbie girl living in the Barbie world.
It was very cute.
It was cute, but baby, it was so sloppy. It was
again,
the idea of it
always been my issue with Silky is execution.
Yes, it was like I thought the idea was cute, but it just the boy side of her looked great, as you can see here. The girl side just looks very sloppy to me. I don't know what it was, and it wasn't working for me. But it was a cute idea, and she was entertaining, so that was I guess that's what really mattered.
Yeah.
So then that pushed her out another week, and as the winner because Akira left and she wasn't there. Then she went Silky versus Jan. Baby, when Miss Jan walked on that stage, go back to the last highlight, the last page. When Miss Jan walked out on that, go backwards. Yes, when Jan walked out on that stage,
Jan was ready to give the business.
Oh, she was tight. She looked, and the girls even talking about it. They were like, "Oh, she looked mad. She looked mad. She looked mad." Girl, she was tight.
So the funniest part was she tried to joke with Silky. She's like, Silk with the good milk. Silky's like, Jan, she's a man. And I died.
Yeah, it was very
shady.
It was very
but
shady.
I mean, it's fucking Drag Race.
Yeah. Silky came out in this like Diana Ross coat and like wig thing going on, and it was a beautiful coat, and she looked absolutely amazing in it. And then of course she whipped that thing off and she wound up going into something else.
This coat right here was everything.
Yeah, it was amazing. She whipped it off.
And this is what she had on underneath it.
Yes. She had a guitar and she had this blue outfit on, and her and Jan, it was Pat Benatar they were singing, and they were going, the song was bad and they were going at it. Jan even tried to do a little hairography where she whipped one wig off and had a second wig on, and she did this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Like they were jamming. Silky even had a guitar prop that was out there as well, and it was cute. And then she went to go banging on the ground, and once again, for me, I felt like the performance was a little sloppy for me. I liked the fact she was entertaining, but it was just something was just a little unkept. But she won. Congratulations. That set her up now to go after the next person that went out, which was Pandora.
Yes. Pandora
is one of those girls who is very quirky and very kooky at the same time, but you almost feel like you can't really, if it's not a show tuney type of thing, it's not really going to work for her, or something like old school, it's not going to work for Pandora. But first of all, Pandora came out on stage, she looked amazing.
She did.
And I felt like she did a good job, even though she started focusing on the quirky and she was singing the background as opposed to singing the lead, which is something that I noticed because of lip syncing or whatever. But I mean, she did a pretty good job, and it was okay, but it still wasn't as good as Silky. But once again, this white outfit at the top, Silky came out in this almost like a J-set outfit. It looked okay, but as soon as she started moving, it started moving and tangling up, and it just didn't work for me. And let me be clear, Maximus, it's not that I don't like Silky. Baby, listen, I live for Silky, but bitch, she's sloppy. You can't tell me that this is the best that you have and it's the cleanest that you have. Because I'm not even going to talk about this last outfit that she had on with this next lip sync that she did with this black blow-up outfit and the black piece of tape in the front of it. Baby, you're sloppy. You're sloppy. Like, I feel your energy is amazing, but baby, you're sloppy. And it's not that I don't like her, because I do like Silky. I think I kind of felt like when she, in her season, she should have done better than she did, but that's just me. I mean, she made it to the top 4.
No, I think she didn't do well in her own season because she was extra sloppy. I feel like she got better this season, but she still, listen, bodies come in all shapes and sizes, so it's not even that. But you gotta work with the body that God fucking gave you. And the perfect example of that is Eureka. Eureka ain't no small girl. Eureka is big as shit. And I do not mean that as disrespectful. Eureka is 6'4" and a good 350 pounds. But Eureka always is put together.
Yes.
Not a hair out of place. Not a piece of pad is out of place. Not a fishnet is stretched out or anything. Everything is totally polished. And, this is where I say the stunts fell apart, because it's like, all right, clearly she's got something under this, but I was like, why is she even doing this? Because it was like, is the song going to be Superfly? Because this would have been perfect for like,
it would have been.
but it wasn't. And then she didn't plan it right. And because I think it was is that it has to be because that suit is blown up. So there was probably like duct tape or something on the ankle to keep it closed, to keep the air in, and she couldn't get it off. And that threw her off her game against Eureka. And Eureka's a fucking beast.
She's a dancing bitch, and she is a performer.
Right.
And that's not to say that Silky's not a performer, because Silky is a performer. I have seen her do her the pageants that she's run for in Continental Plus. Silky brings a whole package. The bitch can entertain and the bitch can dance. Let me be clear. But again, it's a certain amount of polish that's not there. I don't know what
it feels to me like she's really good if she's got a team around her that can help her get ready.
Yes. And it's always the little shit. And you know, case in point, I've always talked about doing pageants with Spill It Boy and how he ran for pageants and stuff. The nitpicking that they do for people when the lights hit you on stage, you see everything. Mm-hmm. Thread, missing sequins, everything. And you feel like, oh my God, they're being so nitpicky, but it shows up and it exaggerates. It looks horrible on stage. And for me, with a lot of Silky stuff, this season, she has been the best that I've seen her, but there's still some room for polishing. That's just how I feel about it. But I think she's, and let me be clear, I can't do none of what she does because baby, you. So I'm not knocking you at all. I feel you have some great ideas. It's the execution for me, but that's just me. But anyway, when these two powerhouses go up against each other, like they were performing, but like I once again, like you said, the costume got caught. It kind of, she tried to work with it. And she tried to just go ahead and do a split in it. You got the costume underneath your leg. Listen, the show must go on, and I get it, and I will give her credit for that. But it kind of takes away from me the illusion sometimes of you being on stage and performing. And I get it that it happens, but listen, and it happens to the best of them. I was watching something the other day. Janet was on stage doing a tour, this last tour, and she had a ring on her hand, and she put her hand up in her hair, and it got caught in her hair. And so she's on stage singing, and she's like, "Do you like my style? Yeah, that's sexy." And she's trying to take this ring out of her hair. But baby, when she got it out, she was like, "Let me break it down." Yeah. So listen, I get it, but Silky, I just want you to polish. I love you, Silky, but I want you to be a little bit more polished. I really do.
I think that she's going to get a ton more bookings from this, which is, for me, that's always the best, because I feel like these tours or whatever you get as a result of winning Drag Race is even like I feel like American Idol. Name one super successful American Idol beyond Carrie Underwood and Kelly Clarkson. I mean, the rest of American Idol winners are so that little contract that they win. But then you look at Jennifer Hudson, who placed 8th, and look at where Jennifer Hudson is. So
and Fantasia
but Fantasia did win.
Well, Fantasia won, but then what's his name? The guy who came, I call him Little Barry Manilow, Clay Aiken.
Yes. So you look at those people who didn't win, and I think it's the same on Drag Race. Yeah, you get $100,000, but that is a finite amount of money.
Yes.
And then you have to go on these tours or whatever. But where you make your big money is in these club bookings and then all of the other stuff that opens up. So I'm hoping that this gets Silky a ton more bookings and other things. So good for her.
Yeah.
On that. But I think we've come to the end of the road for Silky because I think Eureka won this lip sync.
Yeah. And for me, hands down, the lip sync alone and the performance alone, for me, it was Eureka. And maybe,
the look too.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's the fact that I've seen these stunts that Silky's pulling out, before, the weeks before, whatever. But baby, Miss Eureka's on stage in a cat suit and her motherfucking potato pumps, and she is emoting. And right. She was dancing when she needed to dance, and she was emoting. And so it was a good performance for me. That's my opinion. Hey, but I could be wrong. But we'll see tomorrow. Actually, we'll see, at 3 a.m. tonight or tomorrow morning, we'll see when the episode airs and what actually happens. And how we actually go from there. But I want to see what they're going to do going forward. If they're going to bring them back as the 5th person and then go again another week and have a top 4 again, or how are they going to do this? I'm not sure how they're going to do that. So I want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing that too, but let's wrap it up.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll just have to see what this gives. So we shall see it. So they'll announce the winner next week, or the winner of that particular last lip sync between Eureka and Silky, and we'll see how it goes. But baby, listen, let me be clear. It was Silky against the whole motherfucking season 6 of All Stars, and that bitch came out swinging, bitch.
She really did. I mean, I commend her. She did a great job. I think, the takeaway for her and every drag queen is to learn from Asia O'Hara, and now this. Stunts are always cute in concept, but you need to practice that stunt, and practice it and practice it and practice it to make sure that it doesn't fall apart, and that it adds to whatever you're going to do and not detract. And in Silky's case, it certainly detracted at the end.
Make sure it gave what it should. Make sure it's given what it should have gave. That's what that's what we said.
And to answer Lynx's question, yes, they are. It is coming back. I don't know exactly when yet, but I've seen several, because I follow Shangela on Instagram and Bob, and they've showed snippets of them filming it. So it is coming back.
Yeah. So listen, I'm looking forward to it, but we shall see what that is. But anyway, tonight, don't forget, American Horror Story starts tonight. So hopefully you all have set your DVRs, because I think it comes on at 10 o'clock. But hope you set your DVRs. And so we will talk about that next week. Because I will definitely talk about that. I'm not, we have. Have you watched American Horror Stories yet?
No, because it's on Hulu and I don't have Hulu.
We talked about this. Okay, we'll talk about that afterward. Okay. Okay, so I feel like this is going to be, I feel like it's going to be like most of American Horror Stories when it first start off and be like, where y'all going with this? Like, I feel like I'm definitely going to be where y'all going with this. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing all the whole cast and what this is really going to be. The commercials look very campy with the alien and so I hope it's not campy. I hope it's more scary, but I hope it's not campy. So, but we'll see. But other than that, that's all she wrote. And what if I'm not sure if everyone got a chance to see What If that came on Disney Plus this last episode with Chadwick Boseman's character T'Challa. It was actually him voicing the character, and you said this was his last thing he's ever done.
This series is, because there is at least one more episode where T'Challa makes an appearance. So
okay, yeah. So
this was his last thing that he did. Yes.
Okay. So and it was pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to that as well, and I'm looking forward to the end of American Horror Stories, which actually should be. I think the last episode is going to be tomorrow, which I think they're going to show, because it was only supposed to be eight episodes, I think it was. But I'm looking forward to that as well. So we'll see how that goes. Excellent. But hey, it's a Wednesday night. We got time, and that's where we are. So, but we ain't got time because American Horror Stories gonna come on. I got some ice cream in the freezer.
Hallelujah! All right, so let's roll this beautiful bean footage.
Yes, indeed.
Links, if you don't get out of here talking about one spoonful of that ice cream, the craving. If by one spoonful you mean like this,
I don't know if I'm really See, you woke up today and you chose violence. That's what you did.
pretty much.
I feel like you chose violence today with talking about me and this ice cream. So I feel like that's where we are. So I love you to death, but you know, I feel like you chose violence, and
You tried it. You really tried.
I mean, you all buffed and everything like that now, but I feel like you chose violence, and I feel a little threatened. I don't know, because I'm a definitely fall on the ground and play, the horror movie actress that falls over her shoe or over her shadow as she's running away from you, like, oh,
stop.
So
Get away.
But
Get away.
You said I'm choosing anti-diabetes. Well, I don't eat ice cream every damn day and eat the whole.
I know, right? How dare you?
But I mean, okay. I mean, if you try to say something, I mean, that's what you're trying to say.
Lynx is health shaming. Anyway, it's been fun as usual. We are so glad and so blessed that you choose to spend time out of your Wednesday evening with us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, indeed. And so Tyra, love, are you gonna come in? I mean, so let me back up. Hopefully everything is okay. Let me start with that. But are you gonna come in and are you gonna join us at the start of the show maybe sometime soon? Girl, we missing you. We missed some of your comments earlier.
Yeah, we miss you. We start at 8:00, and we would love to see you right at 8:00.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm second and thirding what Dominion just said. We absolutely appreciate y'all for tuning in, and yeah, I mean, y'all could be anywhere, but thank y'all for being here with us, and that's plain and simple. That's where we are. So, yeah.
Well, all right. And with that, we will end as we always do by saying thank you all for coming out. God bless you and good night.